Welcome back. I'm Russell.
I'm Matt.
And on tonight's very special episode, we have a topic that's near and dear to both of us. Now, Matt suggested this one. So would you care to take away the intro?
Yeah, absolutely, Russell. So you and I have talked over the years about movies that mean very dear to us. But there's also a lot of movies that you and I have talked about over the years that we just don't quite understand why everyone loves these certain movies. And that's why we decided tonight's very special episode, we would like to do, just for the kids out there, overrated movies. Let's educate these people on these overrated movies, why we feel they're overrated, and who knows, maybe after talking between the two of us, maybe we'll feel a little different about one movie or another, because certainly you and I are going to disagree on some of these movies, whether they're overrated or not. Is correct?
That's right, Matt.
Well, gee whiz, that's right.
Yes, there are some things on your list that would not be on my list, and I'm fascinated by that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you suggested let's talk about overrated movies, and I would like the record to show that my list is this long, and yours is...
Yeah, so Russell right now has this piece of paper, and he wrote down a whole list. The whole front page is completely covered in movies. There's at least 20 of them on there. On my back end, which I only listed four movies. I think four was good enough, although there is one that I will add to that to make it to a fifth one later, and I really want to just shove my thumb up its ass just to kind of give it a little bit.
I got really excited about this, but I have this feeling that Matt is holding back from us tonight, and he's going to start pulling some out that were never discussed before. But that's good. You're hearing it live on Head Trash. So who wants to lead the way?
I think you should lead the way, Russell. I think you should. Let's start by what qualifies as an overrated movie to us? What do you think?
Well, to me, it's this experience where I watch something and then I go, huh, okay, or that was terrible, or I usually the experience for me is I go into the movie not knowing what most people think, and then I go, like, either it was decent or it was crap. And then I learned that, like, most of the world feels it's some kind of masterpiece. I've had that happen to me a lot of times.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a movie generally that it's universally loved by the majority of people, but then you and I kind of just sit back and be like, did we miss something? So we watch it again and we're like, no, this is shit. This is absolute shit. Prime example is I saw The Lighthouse back in October.
Oh, yeah?
And I watched it, and I remember the entire time thinking it's like, outside of Willem Dafoe's like dialogue a little bit, I thought to myself, this is shit. So we're walking out of the theater, and people were like just talking about how much good it is, and there was these two guys that were walking behind me, and they were just like, yeah, I think it is just great, just the cinematography, and I thought it was a very interesting story, and I just wanted to turn around and be like, what the fuck were you watching back there? Are you serious? Get the fuck out of here. None of that made sense. It's not artistic. It was pure shit. Mixed in with some Willem Dafoe dialogue that I really enjoyed, but, something like that. And there's other movies that I've sat in the theaters where, like, people, like, gave it a round of applause, and I kind of looked around like, are you kidding me? This is what you're entertained by? You're clapping for that? I don't know there. So, I don't know. So, we're gonna dig into that list, and, man, I'm telling you, some people are not going to be happy about it. And you and I might not be happy about some of the movies we might list, too.
I can't wait for the part where we start fighting, so we probably should put that off a little bit.
No, we might be fighting about the majority of these movies.
You mentioned being in the theater, and I was thinking to myself, I don't think I've ever gone to one of those.
Yeah, there's a couple movies that people just gave it a round of applause during, like, the middle of the movie, and I just sat there, like, really, like, another prime example was the first Lord of the Rings movie that I saw, when they killed the, like, giant, troll or whatever it was. I can't remember. It's so far back now. And I remember everybody was just clapping about it, and I just kind of sat there. And I was 15 at the time, and I looked around, I'm like, so what? Who cares? So, and then, people generally just, and, we'll get more into those movies later. But, yeah, there's at least 2 or 3 movies I can think of that people really applaud. And one of them we'll talk about later, too, that happened, and I don't want to ruin it. There's 2 movies, actually, that we'll mention, and I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, this happened to me about 3 or 4 times.
Huh. Well, I was thinking that, but then I remembered. And I didn't even put this on my list, but I did go to one of those.
Do you want to start with this?
I went to see Anchorman. Because my brother wanted to. Oh. And I sat through the whole thing like, this is just not only garbage, but it's made in such a way that, like, it sort of treats you in the audience like you must be stupid enough to think this stuff is funny. And I'm sorry to the folks out there, but it's dumb. It's just extremely stupid.
And if you think it's funny, you're dumb too.
Yeah.
Let's just say it.
I'm gonna pull back just before I double down. It's the stupidest thing. Like, it offends me so.
It's not even, you wouldn't even qualify it as like slapstick comedy or like what would you even like?
No, I
categorize that as a comedy.
I think it gave birth to what we're seeing now with stuff like The Office. I think where if your delivery is really dry and if you say things that are off kilter, that's funny. But the things you're saying have to have humor to them. You can't just say them in a certain way.
Yeah.
I think that it may not be the first, but my exposure to it was Anchorman, and it was like it's all, humor is all about delivery in this new 21st century of ours.
Did you laugh even at one part throughout the movie?
I didn't. I mean, I would have been 13 or something.
You weren't even amused by one part?
No.
Wow.
Nothing did it for
Not
me.
even when Steve Carell kills somebody with a trident?
No.
Wow. You're tough.
Were you a fan?
There were some funny parts, but generally I think it's very overrated. It's a movie that, and I hate using this term, but I'm going to use it. It's a movie that I don't think ages well. It's just like there's certain comedies you can go back and you can watch and you can just laugh about it over and over again. Caddyshack for me is one that I can watch over and over again. I'll laugh 100 times out of 100 about certain parts of it.
100 times out of 100?
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
I love me some Caddyshack.
So I had to emphasize that.
But Anchorman, I don't really find it that funny. It's just kind of mindless self-indulgence.
So I think that's the one I had in real time, where I went to the theater and I was like, okay, it's stupid. It treats the audience like we're stupid, and luckily I'll never have to hear about it again.
Well,
and then I found out that the world treats it like it's some kind of classic.
Yeah, I never understood why people go back on it and just think it's like comedy gold. I don't get it. I literally don't get it.
I do not know, but I wonder if it's just that it was the first of its kind, and there have been so many imitators now that
they were just so numb to it.
It's an acknowledged classic now.
I
thought it was just. It almost hurt my brain how much the movie was treating me like, you'll laugh at anything, you moron. So, yeah.
Wow.
Screw you guys who made that movie.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Will. Thanks a lot, Will Ferrell.
You want to go?
You know what? Sure. Let's start. Okay, let me ask you this question before we try to segue here.
Sure.
What's the one movie you had such high hopes for, and you were so geared about it, and then you watched it, and everybody still loved it, but you're just like, God, that sucked.
Well, oftentimes I have this the other way around, but I did have a friend who told me that I really need to watch Fight Club because it's the greatest film that's ever been made.
Russell, the first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
I was like, don't ever speak to me again. I was like, wow, what if it's true? Because I was like, I don't know, it doesn't really appeal to me. I read the cover or whatever, and but I took it home and I watched the entire thing because I thought I owed it to this person who told me that it was going to change my friggin' life, and it sucks. I mean, it's just not any good.
It's a bunch of people beating each other up. One guy has split personalities, big whoop. That's all it is. Yeah, I mean, the book's fine. I like the book. I read the book, and it was great. The movie itself, if I never watch it again, I'm fine with that. It didn't really strike me as, very, just world-changing. But, I haven't met a single person that praises the movie. They'll reference it, they'll always say about, first rule about Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club, and then, all that stuff, but they never really, go out of the way and, tell me why it's, a cinematic masterpiece or something like that. It's an okay movie, but it's not something I'm gonna own, it's not something I'm gonna recommend to, to watch with people. It's just, it is what it's bland. I think it's just very bland.
Well, that interests me, because I've had a couple of people try to sell it to me as, a
Really? I've never had anyone sell the movie to me. Never.
Well,
I've never, outside of you, I think you're the only person within probably the last 10 years that's even talked about Fight Club to me. Ever.
Well, maybe it's not overrated. Maybe I just really hated it.
No, there's quite a big cult of Fight Club people.
But while we're on the subject of, and this is going to be a great segue, just wait for this. While we're on the subject of late 90s false intellectual excesses, I would like to go to the first movie on my list, which is The Matrix.
Did you take the red pill or the blue pill, Russell?
I wrote down this word. I wrote intellectualism. And I underlined it, and then I wrote ridiculous action scenes and CGI.
So
that's a movie that I'm upset at, because as a big fan of action films, I don't like what it did to them. I think it ruined them. I think it
slow motion.
Yeah, the slow motion shots, the usage of CGI, the idea that you can ever get Keanu Reeves to be in something and expect it to be good. I mean,
hey, I love Bill and Ted.
First and foremost, you need good performers, and he's not one of them. But also there's that attempt, and I think it was just really common. It was in the air at that time. There's that attempt to sell the movie to the audience as being somehow deeper than being simply an action film. And the entire reason anybody cares is because of the revolutionary visual effects.
I remember The Matrix as a kid, and came out, 99? So I was 11 then. I remember seeing the previews of it, and, it was just plastered everywhere. And to be honest, I like the idea of the story of it. That's something I could get behind. It's kind of, I went into it the first time I watched it, I think it was kind of be like a science fiction type of movie. It has a lot of deep philosophical meaning, and I can get behind that too, and I can get behind that technology that we're living in some kind of computer reality, that we're being controlled by robots, we're all put to sleep in order to awake and see what the true reality is. You have to just give up everything and accept where you're at, and I like those ideas, but it was poorly executed. It's a boring movie. I agree, the slow motion brought into all these spoofs and just nonsense that we got in the following 10 years. And the CGI, and we'll talk about CGI.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, if there's one common theme, you and I may disagree on a lot of movies that are overrated, but if there's one common theme that you and I can agree on, we can always say, okay, the CGI is, it's tainted the soul of film in one way or another. And it's just, it played a part. It really gave birth to what we now have. I think what made me think of The Matrix overrated even more is they came out with a trilogy. There was a trilogy of The Matrix, and it was even more boring than usual. And it came out bi-yearly, I believe. So I think 99, 01, and 03. All three of the trilogies were completed.
Well, I actually can't speak about that. I never bothered to watch the sequels.
And you're not missing a whole lot, to be honest. If you don't like the first one, you're definitely not going to like 2 and 3.
I think The Matrix unleashed this new world in which you can't make an action movie unless you pretend to have some kind of philosophical theme behind it, and it just makes me miss the days of Total Recall, The Running Man. Just
Total Recall has some philosophical meaning.
Sure, but is it heavy-handed?
I mean, it's subtle. I wouldn't say it's bashed over your head over and over again. It's very subtle.
Exactly, because you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could.
You can pull that off in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You just need Arnold.
Yeah, you just need Arnold. Arnold for any action movie.
Next I wrote, you guys are going to love this. Maybe I should save it.
Cool Runnings?
No, I love Cool Runnings.
I do too.
I love anything with John Candy. That guy was great.
He was.
Remember in the 80s when you could have a celebrity like John Candy?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that?
He died.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Boy, is this dark.
I know. I mean, they tried it with Will Ferrell. Maybe that's what their whole idea was with Anchorman.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess I never looked at it that way. There was this weird time when you could have, John Candy be a movie star. Most unlikely person.
He's great.
You could probably think of. But it was just because he was talented and charismatic.
Yeah, he was charismatic.
Funny,
he was
above
great.
all.
He was fucking great. He was great in everything. He could show up for 2 minutes and you'd be happy with it. Home Alone, National Lampoon's Vacation. There's 2 examples right there where John Candy kind of just shows up. And you're like,
the Blues Brothers?
Blues Brothers? I mean, there you go.
All part in that.
Mm-hmm.
Good old John.
Oh, Johnny.
John Candy tribute episode.
Oh, yeah, I'm down for that.
We're also going to mention stuff we really like, and I hope that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, John Candy, you're a good guy.
God bless him. You know where I'm going to go next, I decided. Because I recently rewatched this one. And I had always written it off, and I felt like, maybe I've been unfair to this movie. Maybe I've torn it to pieces in a way
And
that
it still
totally
sucks.
doesn't reflect the actual quality of this movie that everyone considers to be a science fiction masterpiece. Well, you know what? Aliens. It sucks! It's so bad!
Oh, God.
I rewatched it because it was on TV. They played the original movie followed by that one, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited to see the saga play out." And Miss Weaver, nothing negative to say about you, ma'am. Very talented lady, and I wish she had done more starring stuff back in the '80s because I mean, that was a great time. She was talented. I wish she had found a way to be in more quality stuff. It seems like maybe she was going for the Oscar. She was doing the biography stuff.
Yeah.
But God bless her. Anyway, you know who I do have a problem with? Mr. Cameron. Mr. James Cameron. I watched them back to back. The original is such a masterpiece. And the second one is supposed to be. I watched it again and I never thought about how in the original movie, the fact that they're in a set for the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just feels so organic. They're just in space. I just accept that. And in the second one, where it's really clear that they're on a soundstage and there's a single spotlight that's illuminating everything, it really takes you out of the experience if you go back and watch it as an adult. Also, Bill Paxton, God rest him, but they didn't give him very good lines to work with in that movie. That was just
No, he was the kind of the macho man in that kind of movie there.
I mean, do you think
that's what his role was in that movie?
Do you think they were deliberately making him as obnoxious as he was?
They had to be. I mean, if he played the macho man, so usually the macho man's kind of like the obnoxious one. But then I think of Billy in Predator, and I'm just like, well, that's not true. But they were all macho men, to be honest. But
yeah, but Billy was great in that.
Oh, Billy was great.
Cut himself with a machete.
Yeah.
So we could lure him in. You know what's a great movie? Predator.
It's a great movie.
Damn, that's good. Anyways, I reflected on the fact that it doesn't compare whatsoever to the original movie in terms of believability. I don't like the cast. I don't like the way. I guess I can't say I don't like the cast, but I don't like the way they were presented. I don't like the. I don't know if it's Macho Man stuff with Bill Paxton. They really wanted him to be a total meathead, and when you do that, then all we in the audience can think is, boy, I'm excited for when he finally gets killed. But I think you lose a lot from the movie. You were talking about Predator just now. Mm-hmm. Every character in that is worth something. I mean, they all have personality. They all have reasons that you're sad when they finally die. I mean, those were real guys. And I feel like in Aliens, they just get picked off one by one, and we don't care because they're just terribly stereotypical, obnoxious, loud. They say things that no human being would ever say. I could go into examples. Game over, man! I hate that. I mean, I'm sure maybe in the 80s when absolutely everybody in the world didn't know about video games, that was a clever reference, and I guess I can respect that. But they really went out of their way to make, especially Bill Paxton, but really all the characters just unlikable, and you don't feel bad when they die. I mean, sure, you can root for Sigourney, but we knew she was going to make it anyway. I would have respected it more if there was a little more sadness, like there is in Predator when Jesse Ventura dies. I mean, he's nobody to the story, but he was cool and he was likable.
Yeah.
And Aliens, they're just cannon fodder, I think. Yeah. I never expected to be comparing these two films, but I guess I am.
Did you have any problems with the alien in this movie compared to the original?
No. I mean, if somebody said to me, "We're doing a sequel to Alien. What should we do?" I guess I probably would have said, well, there's more than one this time, so I can't fault them for going in that direction. But there was no originality. Even the visual stuff was really bad. Like you can tell what's cardboard and what's not. At least that was how I felt when I was rewatching it. Are you going to try and defend it?
No, I can't defend it.
Oh, okay.
I really can't. Like, you pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. I have nothing more to add to it. I mean, James Cameron, he's the most overrated director of all time. If we had to name a director, I would put Mr. Cameron at the top of my list. At least
at the top, really?
At least in the top 3.
That's, wow.
Because I thought about it. I'm just like, out of all the movies, his name will sell the movie, hands down. But I looked at all the movies that I've ever watched him direct, and there's only 2 that I really care about. That I think
only 2.
Only 2.
I am fascinated about which 2 they're going to be.
Well, the Terminator, the original one, and True Lies.
Not Terminator 2?
I don't really care for Judgment Day that much.
Oh.
I don't think it's a bad movie, but I also don't really care for it that much. Everybody loves that movie, and I can understand that people love Judgment Day, but I find the original one much more fascinating. That movie keeps me on the edge of my seat. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like, to me, Terminator 2 Judgment Day opened up all these Terminator movies that we've gotten since then, and I don't know. It's just I don't really enjoy Judgment Day. The original one, A+. I like it.
See, I guess I'm of a certain generation, but T2 was on all the time when I was a kid.
Oh, it was for me too.
I guess I have a certain soft spot for it.
T2 was on all the time. But yeah, True Lies and the original Terminator.
Yeah, you know what's great? True Lies.
True Lies is a
great film. God, I love True Lies. The last time I watched that was with my brother, and then as we were watching the credits and it said written and directed by James Cameron, he said, wow, if only this guy had written Avatar, it wouldn't have sucked so bad. And I laughed, and then I felt devastated. So if you'd like to segue into that, I feel like now's the time.
On my list, dude, Avatar is on here. Avatar, everyone in the mother talked about it for, I felt like forever, years. It came out in 2008, and somehow, some way, I was stubborn enough to avoid it for 3 years. So for 3 years, and I knew it was Dances with Wolves. I knew that's what this movie is. I knew what it was. Somebody told me what the movie was about, and I just said, okay, Dances with Wolves. All right. They're like, no, Matt, you don't understand. The visual effects, it's just blue people. I'm like, Smurfs? What? Fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? And I'm just like, alright, who directed it? James Cameron? No. Please, no, don't fall for this. So finally, 3 years after the movie was released, I was with a really good friend of mine. He had begged me for weeks to watch it. Finally, we get back to this place, and he's like, Matt, just watch this with me. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And I'm like, alright, dude, you're right. If I like it, swallow my pride and say, you know what? I was wrong. And if I'm right about this movie sucking, then I'm going to shove it in people's faces. And that's what I'm doing right now, because this movie sucks. Where do I begin, Russell? Where do I even start with? Okay, let's start with the obvious. It is Dances with Wolves, but in space. It's exactly it. It's plagiarism. That's what I felt. It's 3 hours of plagiarism with Sam Worthington replacing Kevin Costner instead. Oh my god. But the one thing everybody praised about this movie, and it's like I feel the same thing with Studio Ghibli movies. They loved the special effects with Ghibli movies, is the animation, but that's all they mentioned. I'm like, you like the movie just for the special effects? Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. Well, what about everything else? Sound quality, acting, the storyline. It was all about the special effects, and that's what drove me insane about this movie the most. Like, this movie was getting praised for one category, wasn't being looked at as a whole. It was nominated for an Oscar. Are you fucking kidding me? What's Oscar really about blue people? Ripping off Dances with Wolves. Holy shit, dude. This movie sucks. Question for you. Name me one memorable line from Avatar. Yeah, exactly.
I can't even think of an unmemorable one. I can't remember it at all. I was similar to you. I think I only waited 2 years, but then I watched it with some friends.
Okay, so what did you think of it? You sat through 3 hours, and you thought?
I did watch the entire movie. I didn't shut it off because I was with friends who wanted to see it, and I thought that it was complete garbage. I guess I had kind of the same reaction as Aliens. The thing I hate the most is Stephen Lang's character. Not only for being terrible, but for wasting such a great actor. I mean, I've seen him he's in Gettysburg, Tombstone. This guy, incredible performer. And they give him this character, where he just has a flat top and big muscles and a wife beater, and he just he does basically the Ermy character in Full Metal Jacket. I mean, he's less than one-dimensional, and it's like, here's the enemy of the movie, here's the bad people. It's like you don't go into it with any sense of let's say, suspense. You know he's going to turn out to be bad. He has a friggin' scar across his eye and a flat top and a wife beater. I wonder if he's going to be nice. And every line they give him is just, it's disgraceful. It really is. And I know, the message is environmentalism and anti-imperial, but you can do that. You can do that with subtlety. You can make it moving. It feels like it was written by a 4-year-old. And, James Cameron wrote True Lies, which is a smart, funny, entertaining movie with great performers. So he knows how to do something good. It's just like, it feels like he wrote this movie
for money.
Because...
For money. Got his money. Got it.
Yeah, but...
What did you think about the love interaction? Like, did you find it even more, like, non-realistic, so...
Well, I've always...
bland, like, it was just, I felt emptiness about it. I'm just like, what, like, you're supposed to care about that.
This is a subject I could get into slightly. Well, I could do a huge thing. But in a small way, I want to say, you don't always need a love story. If that's not what your movie is about, then just have the courage to make it about what it's about.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, Zoe Saldana, having seen her, not in a lot, but in a handful of things, I think she has an incredible amount of talent, too. Mm-hmm. And to give her this where she's, unrecognizable and mostly speaking another language, it's like, why are you wasting all these people who can do such great stuff?
Yeah.
The love story is lame.
Oh, it's beyond lame.
Pointless. It doesn't drive the story forward. Unless it's to get the audience to feel more sympathy.
I think it's supposed to fool us into thinking, like, okay, now he's going to their side, which is the old Kevin Costner siding with the Native Americans.
Yeah.
It's just...
But you can get the audience to feel sympathy without having to resort to sex appeal. Mm-hmm. Lawrence of Arabia did that.
Yeah.
Much better. Does he fall in love with a girl? No, because he has deeper meaning to the plot in that.
Yeah, and you just sat through 3 hours of this. Like, that's way too long for a movie like this. You could have wrapped it out in an hour and 45 minutes tops. That's it. Instead, it just dragged on, and like you're sitting there just looking at your watch, like, is this going to be over? Wait, they're thinking about a part 2? No, man, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, overblown, overrated.
Yeah, but everyone talked about it. Everyone was mind blown about it. The
thing that stuns me the most is that people were so obsessed with the visuals.
Yeah.
Because at that point, 2009, everybody knows what CGI is by that point. Yeah. Everybody has seen a 3D movie.
But people were so blown away by it.
It's not impressive anymore.
Like I said, it's the Studio Ghibli of film. People are mesmerized by one thing and they don't look at it in its entirety. It's the knock I give, like, when we watched Princess Mononoke. Everybody loves that movie. And I said to myself, why? Yeah, the animation's good, but what about everything else? So... I mean...
we're not going to make any friends with you mentioning how much you hate the Ghibli movies.
We don't have any friends to begin with.
It is giving me courage to knock on some of the classics I'm about to try to take.
All right. You know what? Go for it. What's next on the shit garbage radar of overrated movies?
The SGR. Okay, I'm going to go for a big one. Animal House. And I tied this in with a couple of others. I wrote Animal House / Caddyshack / Stripes, because they're all the same movie. And this is another one I revisited recently. When I was a teenager, I seriously watched it for the first time, and then I told my family, who wanted to know what I thought, that I just thought it was stupid, and I was like, this is supposed to be a comedy, where's the jokes? And they were ready to disown me. They was like, that's an all-American classic of a film, you can't talk about it like that. I was like, I'm sorry, but what happens that's supposed to make me feel like I had a great time? You're not with me on this, are you?
You know what? It's been such a long time since I've watched Animal House that I don't actually remember much of it. Like, it's been such a long time. And you know what? It's a movie that I don't really, like, it's not on my priority list of watching it anytime soon. Maybe we should watch it, though, just to see how maybe you'll have a change of heart.
I don't think I will. Because I think it was about a year ago I watched it again, and I felt even worse. It's like, this is so stupid.
There wasn't one time you laughed?
No.
Wow.
I don't think there's a moment in that movie where I thought it approached making me laugh at all. And I feel so defeated by that. Because I wanted it to be one of the all-time great comedies. And maybe it's just not for me. Maybe I'm the wrong generation. I don't know.
Maybe it's just
but it's just people. It's just people being trash to each other, and I don't know. It has a sort of mean-spirited attitude to it, especially when he grabs the guitar, the guy's guitar, and breaks it. That's where I stand. I'm sorry.
So lesson learned: I will not show you Revenge of the Nerds in the future.
Oh, why? Is it a clone?
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay,
but I don't think. If you didn't like Caddyshack or Stripes or Animal House, I don't think you'll like Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, shit. I guess I just don't have a sense of humor.
No, maybe you will like it, though.
I included Caddyshack and Stripes because I think Animal House unleashed that comedy genre that's about a bunch of misfits infiltrate some kind of fancy upper-class environment.
That's Revenge of the Nerds, kind of.
All right, well, you're correct that I've never seen that.
Wow. I enjoy that movie.
Very funny.
I enjoy it. I get a good laugh out of it every now and then. But, Animal House and Caddyshack and Stripes.
Yeah, hated them all.
You really didn't like Caddyshack?
No, I don't find any of that funny, again.
Wow. I'm so surprised. Somehow.
Because mostly it's this movie about that, like, fantasy of ruining upper-class people's lives. And then there's some scenes of Bill Murray thrown in just to remind us that it's supposed to be a comedy. But, you know, it's like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. We get Spicoli to try and fool the audience into thinking it's a funny movie when it's not. It's a teen melodrama. And you know what else sucks? Fast Times at Ridgemont High! I hate that fucking Jackson Browne song that we have to hear every time the girl's gonna get laid. She's gonna be somebody's baby.
I love that movie.
You can't just give me a pair of tits and a couple of dumb stoner jokes and convince me that it's
Mr.
a
Delman.
quality film.
Phoebe Cates' tits. I mean, tits. Oh my god. Phoebe Cates, I'm so sorry. Your tits are probably still spectacular right now. My apologies. Great tits in that movie, by the way. I like that. I like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I love it.
I had the same experience with that. I watched it and I was like, where are the jokes?
Yeah, you'll definitely not like Revenge of the Nerds.
I'm so excited to watch it now. Well, I've ruined everybody's childhood, so you better go next.
All right. So I mentioned this movie earlier when I was in the theaters.
Oh yeah. What is it?
And I might as well rip on all three of them. Lord of the Rings. I think out of any movie that I can think of where I am just on an island by myself, it is Lord of the Rings.
You might be right.
I don't hate Lord of the Rings. I just think they're really, really boring. They're 3 hours of just these dudes trying to destroy a ring by throwing it in a volcano. And you get other factors involved. There's too many characters. I don't care for the CGI. The acting, I don't care. Orlando Bloom, you fucking suck, okay? I'm saying it right now. I hope this gets back to me one day in your life. You suck as an actor. I do not like you acting. I cannot stand you. Just leave us alone, please. I find Lord of the Rings really boring. I think Frodo is a very flawed character. I can't get behind any of the characters. Sam's my favorite, but even Sam I can only take so much. At some point I was yelling at Sam, just fucking leave them! Fucking leave them! They treat you like shit, just go home! And live a normal life, get married, and just live on! Fuck Frodo and fuck the rest of them! Let them kill each other! They're just boring movies. And I've tried on 4 separate times in the last when did the first one come out? 03?
01.
01? So yeah, between 19 years, watching it on 47 occasions, trying to say, okay, enough time has passed. Let me review it. Let me look at it again because everybody loves these movies so much. And so I watched them, and I watched all three of them, and every time I'm just like, no, they're boring. After the first hour of each movie, I just want to be like, oh, god damn it, I got 2.5 hours more of this. And I love Peter Jackson as a director, but my god, these movies were so overhyped. I don't understand why people like these movies. I really don't. I don't get it. I've tried. I've sat there multiple times, and the story's not complicated. It's not anything confusing me. There's just nothing's hitting it with me. It's like with you in Animal House. I just don't get it. I literally don't get it. None of the characters I buy into, I have no emotional attachment to any of them. I could care less who fucking dies, who fucking becomes king, who fucking gets laid, who fucking gets rich. I don't care. I don't even care about N-World. None of it. Gandalf, I cannot stand Gandalf. And one of the most overrated lines of the movie, you shall not pass. Fuck you! Are you kidding me? Oh god, I don't like these movies. They're drawn out. They're so long, 3 hours each. They just bore me. They bore the shit out of me. And dude, like I said, Russell, I've tried so many times to at least find some good quality of it. And I can't. I literally can't. I've tried. I've literally tried, and I just can't. I can't find anything interesting about them. So a bunch of dudes want to destroy a raid that the future evil king's going to come and destroy the land. Wow, I haven't heard that story before. So you drag it out over 6 hours and 3 movies, and then we get 3 prequels that are shittier? Oh my god. I mean, it's just... Dude, these movies, man, I'm sorry, I know everyone in the world loves them but me. I know I'm the only one on this island. They're boring. I don't like the actors. I burped. No character attachment. Gollum, I think, is just dumb. I think he's a dumb idea. He's a dumb creation. Some days I just wish a giant robot would fall out of the sky and just step on him. That's just how I feel. He's annoying, too. Not as bad as Jar Jar Binks, but he's annoying. That's just that, dude. That's how I feel about Lord of the Rings, man. I'm still sitting here thinking to myself, like, well, what is it about those movies that you like?
I guess with you right in my face, it's harder to put into words. But I just think they're great because, to me, they fall into that genre. I was in love with anything to do with King Arthur as a kid, and I say was. I still am. That's kind of my favorite genre. I love trolls, witches, goblins, dragons, shit like that. That's my scene. I like that it's got that angle to it. Sure, it's a shameless tribute to English folklore, but I like it for that. I think it's a great tribute. I think it's fun. I think it's enjoyable. I don't know. I like the fantasy stuff. I love Excalibur, the Dark Crystal, stuff like that. And for me, they fall in that same group.
Yeah, and I love witches and goblins and dragons and stuff. Like Lord of the Rings is just too much. It's just too much. It's just so much, and it makes my head hurt just watching it. It's just just the pace and the tone and just everything about it is just so boring to me.
Well, see, I can never go back because not long before they came out, I had read the books, so I was pretty thrilled to see what it would look like. And to me, it didn't disappoint. I think every single actor was the right person, and enjoyed them. I love the Lord of the Rings.
Except you, Orlando Bloom, you weren't the right choice. You never are.
I love the Lord of the Rings movies. They're fucking, King Arthur for our generation. Plus, Star Wars wouldn't exist without Tolkien, and you know it. So back off, buddy.
I'm not believing the books or Tolkien about anything, but the movies itself, no. Okay. I can't do it.
All right. Well, I respect your opinion because you're the only one that has it.
I know you. I've not met one person in my entire life that says, you know what, Matt? I'm with you. They are bored. They suck. I'm with you, dude. Right on, man. And I'm just like, wow, cool. Nope, it is just me. I am the only one with one coconut tree next to me, and that's it. That's all I am. I'm Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Help written in the sand. Well, you didn't pull any punches there, so I better go after a classic now. And I'm gonna do it with The Godfather. That's one I went into hoping that I'd really like it, because again, you get the James Cameron syndrome of great performers in roles that I don't think are worth their time. I mean, I've nothing to say bad about Mr. Duvall. There's one of the all-time great American actors, but I just felt I felt no connection to the characters. I'm not a guy who thinks crime is super awesome and everybody should want to live up to it or something. I don't really buy into the family thing, because I think the minute you examine that idea, it totally falls apart. That you're supposed to have this ultimate family loyalty. That's what the story's really about, man. It's about family. That's why he takes his brother out and shoots him in the head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's not consistent. I don't relate to it. It didn't move me. I think the actors are great, but when you come to me and say the greatest movie of all time is The Godfather, it did nothing for me. I was bored.
So this is your Lord of the Rings.
The Godfather is probably my Lord of the Rings, yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Why?
Well, I think it's a great story. And it is. The movie's about family. It's not a crime movie. It's about family. It's not a gangster movie. It's family. It's a family movie. It's about family. I'm not saying it's like a Disney family movie, but no, it's a great. I think it's a personal great movie. I love the characters. I think Brando and Duvall and James Caan, and even Al Pacino in it. I think it's a great movie. The action keeps the movie going. I love it. I'm not really big into the whole crime thing either, but The Godfather's a movie that I can watch again and I can enjoy it just as much as I did the first time. I wouldn't necessarily agree with a lot of critics saying this is one of the greatest movies of all time. That I can settle it, but no, I was entertained by it from start to finish. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's a great movie.
Huh?
I think it's absolutely wonderful. Entertains me. It's just, I love the action in it. I love the development of Michael, Al Pacino's character in it.
I don't get it. I don't connect with it.
Yeah.
I would have to say.
No, it's your Lord of the Rings. I get it.
It's my Lord of the Rings.
I get that disconnection.
But people always want to burn me at the stake when I say I didn't like The Godfather. So that makes me hate it even more.
There's a couple people I know that agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm. I always end up in a fight over it.
Mm-hmm. I'm the only one who thinks Lord of the Rings sucks, but you've got some supporters for your Godfather thing. So see, that's improvement.
Stop trying to win.
I'm not trying to win at anything. Just trying to get you to join me on the island.
I can't. I love Lord of the Rings. It's a particular itch that I can scratch with the Lord of the Rings. It just has so many things I like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. So, can we talk about the fuck assery that is the Shawshank Redemption?
Oh wait, do you mean to tell me that you totally agree with me about this?
You gotta get busy living and get busy dying, Russell. God, I want to die every time I watch this movie.
Wow, okay. Boy, you didn't even warn me about that. I don't believe it.
Believe it, dreams do come true.
So for the first time, no, we agreed about Avatar. But I'm shocked. So you agree with me about the Shawshank Redemption being hopelessly, perhaps even criminally overrated?
Way overrated. Like, this movie gets thrown into, one of the greatest movies of all time, one of the most quotable movies of all time, movies that should have won several Oscars of all time. This movie is just so overrated on all levels of everything. I can't even begin to... I don't even know where to start with this movie. Just the basic... Okay, so the whole movie, this innocent man goes to prison for murder, and then he escapes after he finds out that the whole system is corrupt, which, of course, reflected everyday life of the prison, systems, and just how it is. I think the reason why people love this movie so much is it gets back at the system, at the justice system. it's kind of a perfect movie about it. And there's just nothing about this movie that makes me scream. This is Escape from Alcatraz is a perfect movie about breaking out of jail. You feel wronged by the system at times. That's a perfect example of a movie that I think people should get behind and really enjoy. Plus, Clint Eastwood's in it. You can't go wrong with that. This movie, on the other hand, it's boring. It's non-relatable to me. I don't get behind it, and I don't understand why people love it so much. People love the scene of Tim Robbins, going through several hours of swimming in shit just to escape. And then just, the whole scene where he's just, looking up at the ring, I'm free, and all that stuff. Then he plans his revenge back from years, getting back to the warden. I don't care about this movie. I don't care. I've never really cared about Morgan Freeman as an actor either. I just don't get behind it. I really can't. I can't.
Well, I mean, my experience of it, and you already alluded to this, it has been basically, if you're going to say The Shawshank Redemption is the greatest movie ever, then you have to feel that way about Escape from Alcatraz. Because scene for scene, they're exactly the same movie. I mean, I remember I saw it on TV one time. I had no clue about it. I didn't know its reputation or anything. And I watched some parts and I was like, okay, I didn't know they made a remake of Escape from Alcatraz. But that's clearly what happened. I mean, they wear the same uniforms. They're the same color. The scene where Tim Robbins sits on the steps and talks to Morgan Freeman is lifted exactly from Escape from Alcatraz.
It is.
The relationship the two main characters have is exactly what happens in the other movie. The way he gets out of his cell. He digs behind something and then hides it with a poster instead of a toilet paper roll. Oh, that's really original. It's the exact same scene. It's the same concept. They have a sadistic prison warden who torments the inmates. Exactly like Patrick McGoohan in Escape from Alcatraz. I mean, it's like beat for beat. It's like it almost disgusts me because it's like it'll get praised for being so creative. It's a ripoff. It's absolutely a plagiarism. Like your feeling about Avatar,
I was about to say,
is my feeling about The Shawshank Redemption. I mean, it's even closer.
Yeah, it's
scene by scene by scene. Even the colors the guys are wearing, the way they speak to each other. It's like putting a negative print over a photograph.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's exactly the same.
The only difference is it's the one scene where the guy does get released from prison. He can't adjust to, the outside world because he's been, incarcerated for so long. So, yeah, I mean, that's the only difference you could probably make between those two movies. But, yeah, it's identical to Escape from Alcatraz. There's no denying it. It's right. It's plagiarism. That's how it's the Avatar argument all over again with Dances with Wolves. That's what it is.
God, I'm getting a little emotional about this. I just don't understand. For one thing, does everybody love prison movies that much? Because I can't think of any others that are ever praised to this degree. So it's a weird outlier when it comes to that. I just hate it because it's so close to a certain movie that I really like that I think it's underrated, and yet this one is supposed to be the greatest ever.
Very, very underrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, why don't you talk about Clerks?
Oh, all right. Let's talk about Clerks. It blows so bad. This is one where I don't know where to begin. I recently I went into it totally blind. I was like, Clerks, people talk about this movie, let's watch it. I've never even given it a chance. And I, wanted to either kill myself or maybe just go blind. I mean, walk me through it. Why is it so good?
I don't know.
Okay, so you're on my team when it comes.
I was hoping I'm not on anybody's team. Okay. This is a movie that I have not seen in such a long time, and I don't even remember it. Probably for good reason too. That I'm just like.
See, I was hoping maybe you would point me in some kind of direction.
I don't know. It's just like the only thing I could probably pinpoint as to why people like this so much is like it's shot in black and white. I do remember that part of the movie.
Yeah.
And then it gave birth to Jay and Silent Bob.
Okay.
And that kind of opened up new doors to other things, and I think it's kind of just like this this dry humor about this movie, and I think it's like relatable as to schmucks that finally get their end. Just with everyday living. That's just kind of the general sense I get about Clerks. But I can't really speak much about it because I have not seen it in such a long time that I don't even remember it. So really, it's just like, okay, so what is it about the movie that you didn't like?
Well, it is dry, as you say, but it's not humor. I mean, it doesn't even try to be, at least in my opinion. I don't even view it as a comedy movie. It's just strictly like a documentary shot movie about a bunch of losers who, are crude and supposed to be lovable for that reason. And, they're not. You need more than that. You do need to have personality to be likable, I'm sorry. But the whole thing is like, and it definitely has the feel of like a college project, more so than a motion picture.
Did it feel like an independent movie a little bit?
Well, I think it literally was, wasn't it?
Couldn't tell you.
It would shock me if it was a studio film. But anyway, it could have been. In the 90s, anything was possible.
Very true.
But I hate it for having that attitude that your movie can be about nothing, but if it involves real-life situations, that makes it artistically great. I don't agree with that, and that's something that movie critics very often will agree with, but I don't know, it makes me sick. Like, you're supposed to be an artist. You can't just point a camera at a couple of schmucks in the video store and let that be it. I don't know. It's a movie that doesn't aspire to be anything. It's not anything. It's about no one and nothing. And I guess that if you want to see that as a reaction to the Hollywood machine, then fine. But Hollywood movies make money because they're enjoyable to be a part of. This movie's not. It's just literally a waste of your life to try and watch this fucking movie.
So what is
I'm sorry. It sucks.
Can you at least tell me what this movie's about?
No! It's not! If I could, I would. That's what I hate. I mean, there isn't a plot. There's a location. People come and go from the location. They say rude things to each other, and they leave.
Can I just pull up the Clerks synopsis? Let's pull it up.
Let's do it.
And let's see what it says. And let's see if you agree or disagree here. I'm so excited to find out.
I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to breathe.
Yeah, take a deep breath here, because you're about to get this. Okay, here we go. Oh my god. So it's just to piss you off even more here.
How long is this? Never mind, just read it.
Okay, so first of all, Clerks came out in 1994. It was an hour and 45 minutes. 7.7 out of 10 for IMDb, 88% for Rotten Tomatoes, and 70% for Metacritic, and 89% of Google users like this movie. So here you go.
God.
So the box office, it hit about made $3.2 million, and the budget was $230,000. And the whole point of it is Dante is called in to cover a shift at his New Jersey convenience store on his day off. His friend Randall helps him pass the time neglecting his video store customers next door to hang out in the quick shop. The uneventful day is disrupted by news that one of Dante's ex-girlfriends has died. After attending her memorial service, Dante muses over staying with current girlfriend Veronica or reuniting with his ex, Caitlin. That's it.
I mean, I guess it does it more than justice to pretend it has a story. That was a long synopsis. I wasn't ready for it to be that much.
This is it? This is the whole movie?
Is that a review?
That's it. I mean, I'm looking at anything else, but yeah, that's it. That's just kind of it. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Clerks was shot for $27,575 in the convenience and video stores where director Kevin Smith, worked in real life. Upon its theatrical release, the film received generally positive reviews and grossed over $3 million in theaters, launching Smith's career. The film was considered a landmark in independent filmmaking, and in 2019 was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress, who deemed it culturally, historically, I can't even.
Aesthetically significant.
I can't even like finish it. I'm so mind blown right now.
God, I just want to die.
Oh my god! Wow.
You are loving this, aren't you?
Every minute. I don't believe it.
At that part, I'm almost shocked. I mean, I guess what do you expect? But the Library of Congress is preserving Clerks because it's historically significant and aesthetically and all the other bullshit. Nothing happens in it. Like, this is, I don't know, I think it just makes me so angry because it's the ethic that, you know, it doesn't have to take any talent to create art. And I just don't want that to be the message to future generations. I mean, am I being too hard on it? Am I looking at this the wrong way?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I think it's a good point. Apparently, the Library of Congress thinks otherwise.
Yeah, well, fucking, this is where my tax dollars go.
Congress, fuck you.
Jesus, Clerks. God, what the hell else is in there?
And I do want to share one more thing about Clerks.
What's
dude,
that?
If you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Are you sure, dude? Are you prepared for this?
Listen, it's going to be great radio.
Well, alright, ask and you shall receive. You do realize they made Clerks, too.
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing about it.
7.3 out of 10 from IMDb, 63% Rotten Tomatoes, and 65% from Metacritic. So a little bit down, but still at 89% like this movie from Google users. Would you like to hear the synopsis of this movie?
No.
So the budget was $5 million, and the box office was $27 million, and you're going to get it anyways. Now in their 30s, slackers Dante and Randall find that they must change their lives and expand their horizons beyond pop culture and sex. After a disaster at their convenience stores ends their employment there, they find new jobs at Movies, a fast food empire.
The end?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
I never bothered watching the second one. I mean, maybe it's a revelation, but something tells me no.
And it came out in 2006, so about 12 years after the first one was released.
God help us.
Yeah, this happened. This really happened.
God. I mean, I guess I've already given it my summary. It makes me angry because it just represents that idea that you don't really need to be good at anything, you know, in order to be a success.
Yeah, that's why we have YouTube
I'm
stars.
sorry,
now.
I guess that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
I guess Kevin Smith saw it coming.
And banked on it.
But, fuck, dude, your fucking movie has to have a story. It has to be about something. It needs to have themes and characters. It's gotta move me. It's gotta mean something. God damn it!
Randall didn't move you at the convenience store in the rental store.
God, like, you know what's a great movie? Wayne's World. And where I'm going with this is you can make a movie about lovable jerk-offs who, you know, have shitty lives, but they have to mean something to the audience. You have to see yourself up there, you know, like, this is the predicament that I'm in, but I want something better for myself. I think that's what art means. And Clerks doesn't give you that. It just gives you the 90s slacker version of life, which is that we're going nowhere, and
I blame Nirvana for that one.
I'm depressed. Yeah, well, fuck it. I mean, Kurt can't defend himself, so fuck you. You suck too. Oh, God.
Oh, man. Well, it didn't mean a whole lot to you, Russell, but it sure meant a whole lot to Congress.
Yeah, well.
And the people have spoken. God, life sucks, doesn't it? Well, how about another one?
Yeah, you take over.
You want me to take over? All right.
Yeah, you wrote down a couple of doozies where there's actually kind of a gulf between us in opinion.
Well, since we're stuck in the 90s, let's stay in the 90s.
Oh, God, I know what
it's going
to be.
Forrest Gump, let's just get it out of here.
Oh, man.
I know, it's overrated. Nothing about it moves me. I mean, I feel bad for the character Forrest. And maybe this is what Robert Zemeckis wanted. He wanted people just to shit on him so we can relate to him so much. He gets shit on by everybody. Every fucking buddy in that whole movie. Like, everybody. And, you know what? This movie, I just don't really care for it. So he wants to impress this girl who's a fucking whore. I'm sorry, like,
Jenny.
dude, like, he just, like, I don't care about Jenny. I don't care about her. I don't care about this movie. I don't know what it is about this movie. Like, why do people like it so much? I don't.
I guess and it's not a favorite of mine by any means. I just think that it's charming. It has a nice little story about growing up.
Growing up.
And I don't know. I think that's cool.
Growing up in the 60s and 70s, huh?
Yeah. I enjoy it. I mean, it's again on that line where it's not exactly a comedy, but maybe it should have been. But I think it's amusing enough that it works on that level. I don't know, man. I have a hard time explaining it. I just think that Lieutenant Dan Ice Cream is funny.
Maybe I shit on this movie too much.
And sure, Jenny was a bitch, but you know what? We all had that in our lives. Everybody can think of a Jenny that they know. I promise you can. Tell me there's no such thing that's ever happened to you.
There's no such thing that's ever happened to me.
And we never had this conversation.
I don't know.
I guess as I get older and I've had my heart broken, you know, I guess I just relate to Forrest, man. He just wants to play ping pong and live in the South with his mama. And I don't know, maybe it's that it's so American that it's almost disgusting, like you want to vomit apple pie. But I don't know.
What's more American than that? If you're not vomiting apple pie and money.
I guess I just like that. It's sweet. It's a sweet little movie about a simple man just wants to play ping pong. I don't know. It's nice. Nice is what it is. I'm not angry about Forrest Gump. Again, I don't think it's great, but I'd watch it.
It's boring to me.
It's comforting.
It's boring. I can't. It's just a boring movie to me that I just sit there and just kind of like snooze off, and it's just like, man. Like, this is hailed as one of the all-time classics of the 90s, most quotable movies, and yet half the time when I see that movie, if I had a choice between Forrest Gump and Bloodsport, 10 times out of 10 I'm going to watch Bloodsport.
Yeah, well, Bloodsport's not an overrated movie.
No, it's not. It's exactly what it is.
It does have the great Forrest Whitaker, though.
Oh, it does. It's great. God, I love Bloodsport. Man.
I didn't love Bloodsport, but again, that's a movie that's exactly what it is advertising that it is. It's about a martial arts contest, and there's nothing else to it. And if you wanted more to that, then what the fuck is wrong with you, you know?
Exactly. It's not. It's just, you know, it's a movie where you know what you're getting. There's no bullshit that's being thrown at you. You can be easily entertained. It's a short movie, an hour and a half. You know, you get to see some very funny, what the fuck quotes. You get some cool ass 80s music. You get a chase scene in Hong Kong where they're running, and Jean-Claude Van Damme has a yellow sports blazer. What's there not to love about this movie? But I don't know. It's just Forrest Gump for me. It's just I don't know. It's a movie that I've watched time and time again, and I'm just like I don't hate it, but it just. You know, I find myself changing the channel after a while. I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm probably not always in the Forrest Gump type of mood.
No.
But I don't think it's a bad film. Overrated? No. Maybe I can agree with that. Mm-hmm. Probably shouldn't have got Best Picture, but...
I think, did it get Best Picture?
It sure did.
Wow, alright.
But, nostalgia is probably the reason.
Yeah, maybe. They had a good cast to it. I mean, they got Sally Field in it too.
Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine little movie.
Yeah, maybe you've kind of convinced me a little bit. Maybe I'm being a
little
harsh on Forrest. Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I don't know. It shouldn't have. It almost the worst thing that ever happened to it was getting Best Picture and becoming like a legendary film, because I don't know. It didn't set out to be that. It was just supposed to be a nice little movie about troubled times in America.
Yeah. And speaking of troubled times in America, can we just shit on Wes Anderson for a little bit?
Yay!
Let's just take a big old massive dump on his films. Okay, question. How many of these movies have you seen Wes Anderson direct?
I think 4.
4? Okay. Life Aquatic for me the Budapest Hotel, and like I know several of his films, but those two, once I watched them, it's just like I don't want to watch these ever again.
I've seen Life Aquatic. I haven't seen the Budapest Hotel. I've seen Life Aquatic, The Royal Tenenbaums, Isle of Dogs, and I started to watch Moonrise Kingdom, and fortunately we shut it off. And I guess I don't have any hatred for Mr. Anderson, but I keep going into his movies. I like read the thing on the back cover, and I'm like, wow, that sounds like it's going to be really funny. And then just nothing makes me laugh at all. And I'm like, wait, didn't you sell this to me like it was going to be a rip-roaring comedy movie?
That's what it's called.
Isn't that what it always says on the cover?
Yeah.
Like, hysterical. Or whatever fucking thing. And I don't
laugh your pants off.
Yeah. I don't... What am I missing? Is it...
Yeah, I've asked the same thing. What am I missing? Like, people... There's like a...
Is it ironically funny? Is it funny because you're saying it is when it's not, and that's funny?
There's like this hardcore fan base, this group that just praises his movies, like the themes and how funny they are and just how they're different they are. I'm just like, they suck. They suck, dude. I'm sorry.
Well, that's another one where you often get the argument that the visuals are so stunning.
Yeah, I'm just
I don't... Sure, they are, but they don't support anything.
Yeah, in fact, I could care less about them.
Right, so maybe you have to be somebody who just really digs the staging of a movie. And I mean, I guess I can get that, but I keep going into it expecting something that it doesn't deliver on, and I don't think it's my fault. So I think his movies are always marketed as if I'm going to go in and have a wonderful time and leave with a smile on my face and laugh my pants off, and and they're not that. They're somber and sad and depressing and goddamn everything that came out of the 90s. Would you just lighten up?
It's the Nirvana effect. Just lighten up, kids. It's gonna be okay.
God.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
There's just God. You know. When I watch Life Aquatic, I'm just like, there was nothing about it that made me like root for the characters that I found anything pleasing about it, anything funny. I just kind of sat there and watched it, and I just kind of said, oh, okay, that's that. But then people like praise his movies, and I don't get it. It's just, his movies are not something I hate, but his movies are not something I give absolute praise over. It makes me think about, that was like every, the two movies I've seen, I just kind of went away like, okay, that's what it was. And I think that's the worst feeling that you can give a movie. Like, I don't have any hatred towards this movie or any, praise towards it. I'm just like, okay, that's it. I think that's the worst feeling you're going to have for a movie.
Yeah, I guess I kind of agree. And, under normal circumstances, you could just leave it at that if it weren't for the fact that he's becoming one of the revered filmmakers of this generation.
Oh,
and you always get, if you don't like his stuff, you always get a speech about how it's probably because you're too stupid to understand it. And you know what? That's not the case. There's just not the depth there that everybody imagines.
I would love to know why people love his movies so much. I don't understand what makes this man. He's praised for his visuals, his narrative styles, but I don't get it.
I think it must be 100% aesthetic thing as opposed to storyline.
I guess
like people who like Wes Anderson movies probably are the sort of people who arrange their candles in a specific way because it really makes their day. I think it's the very same mental space as that. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, that's probably a perfect example of it. Mm. But man, I just
have no energy to see this anymore.
I mean, you gave it all for the Shawshank Redemption. Oh no, Clerks.
Yeah,
you gave it all for fucking Clerks.
I didn't know that.
You dove in there. I mean, after I told you it was preserved for the Library of Congress, that was pretty much your pushing moment. That was your last. That was just your last. You just got pushed off the cliff when I told you that.
We need to talk about something happy after this.
I mean, this is pretty much we're just shitting on things. That's all we're doing. We're just on things. That's all we're doing.
I'm not used to that though. This is taking a lot out of me.
I know. Well, you got to get used to it, Russell.
Why? What's next?
Okay. Okay, what should we do next here? Oh god, we got 2 movies left on this list here. I mean, we've already ripped on Wes Anderson. We've ripped on... I mean, we haven't ripped on Ghostbusters yet.
We haven't, and some part of me feels like being nice to Ghostbusters.
What has happened to you?
I'm broken. Look, you see what you've done. I wrote that one down because I do think it's overrated.
It is.
I don't think
it's praised as one of the most, if not the most beloved movie of the 80s, which is total bullshit.
But I don't get that part. I remember when the remake was going to come out, and I heard a lot of voices say, you can't possibly touch this movie. It's a travesty. It's the greatest thing ever made. And I thought, wow, is it really? Because I had seen it as a kid. And so I went to my library and got it and watched it. And just didn't feel that way at all. I was like, all right, it's a fine little movie, but is it the world's greatest thing? No. Is it the best movie of that year? Not even fucking close.
I think people are just being defensive about it, and they just threw out the title that it's the greatest ever.
Just as a reaction, you think?
I think so. I did watch about 30 minutes of the remake, and I turned it off.
Well, yeah.
It was terrible.
But the nice thing about that movie is that everyone agrees how bad it is. And it's kind of nice to be on that team for a while.
I know. We finally got something. There's 2 movies left on here.
Oh, are they both yours?
They are.
Oh, God, yeah. All right, let's have them.
You want me to start with The Force Awakens?
Yeah, let's do it.
You really think people would agree with me on that?
Yeah, I've heard nothing but negative. This is one where I'm on the island.
Really? I've heard nothing but positive
I'm on an
about
island.
this
I can
movie.
see your island, but there's no boat that can get between us.
Keep in mind, I'm the only person still on the Lord of the Rings island right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Really? I mean, I've heard nothing but positive things. So this is what we talked about in the beginning of the episode, where I sat in the movie theater and like everybody applauded, and I'm the only one that's like looking around like, oh fuck my life, dude, fucking kill me. And this is the other one. Like it's we talked about Avatar being a complete, just page-by-page rip-off of Dances with Wolves. We've also mentioned Shawshank Redemption was a rip-off of Escape from Alcatraz. This right here, this is why this movie offends me so much. It's exactly A New Hope. It's exactly it, over and over again. I went with the expectations that we were going to get something new, something like really fresh, and it was just the same thing over and over again. And that's what pissed me off about this movie so much, that everybody just loved it. And I'm just like, it's A New Hope. It's A New Hope, but like 21st century, style. It's 2015 right here style. There's nothing about this movie that I even care about. I actually hate this movie. I hate this movie. I hate everything about it from beginning to end. The characters, the political motivations behind this movie. There's nothing about this movie I like, except for BB-8. BB-8's the only thing I like about this movie, and that's it.
He is awfully cute.
He is awfully cute. I gotta give him that. I knew this movie was going to be the birth of something that's going to be terrible. And am I wrong? Am I wrong? What have we gotten since then? We've gotten Rogue One, we've gotten Solo, and the 2 other movies for that. And we're going to get like a Boba Fett movie, and we're going to get Jabba the Hutt when he was a little worm, probably, and a Mighty Sarlacc when he's going to just birth out of the sand. This is where it's going to lead, and you know how mad I get over this.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we just settle with Return of the Jedi as being the last thing? I get it, the prequels suck, and everybody was hoping for just a restart button and something new, and I get it.
That's the thing. After the prequels, there was deep shame upon everyone who loved Star Wars, and it was a bad feeling for those 15 years, whatever it was. Let me finish.
I'm going to let you take the floor here.
And what The Force Awakens did was to give us back our dignity as members of the Star Wars community, because again we had something to embrace and feel good about. When you go to The Force Awakens, you're going to see a tribute band. You're going to see a band who's dressed up like the members of Kiss, who can play all the songs and hit the high notes, and you leave and it's like, that reminds me of good times. Okay, that's it. Now, whether they should have made sequels to that, I'm almost leaning towards no at this point, just because all that's happened in the years since, all that's happened is that we once again, there was a time when we were united by our hatred of the prequels, right? Now The Force Awakens happened, we all feel good about ourselves again. Now Rogue One happens, it completely blows the worst any movie maybe ever has, And now we all hate each other and ourselves again, and we've gotten nowhere. All this progress that J.J. Abrams was kind enough to give us with The Force Awakens. It was sure it's a throwback, it's a tribute, it's a ripoff, it's whatever you want to say. But we got Harrison Ford back. We got to see Chewie again in the Falcon. We were reminded of old friends, old times with people we loved.
That we had the original 3 movies.
Fine. That was fine. We get to have that warm, cozy night by the fire once again with The Force Awakens. It should have been left at that forever.
It wasn't cozy. It was raining that night.
You know that ending where we see Mark Hamill? He doesn't say anything, but you know it's going to be awesome. They should have left that forever. Okay? That's just...
You knew that wasn't going to happen. You knew that before you even saw the movie. You knew we were going to get more movies. And they were just going to shove it down our throats. They even said you're going to get a new Star Wars movie like every other year, even when you're past your dad.
We're all dead. So and then it'll just be made by robots and cockroaches.
We're going to have to watch it again. You're going to have to continue watching Star Wars movies. The first 3 are just such a classic. Why did we need... We didn't need prequels. We didn't need tribute bands or Rogue Ones or anything. Like, we should have just left it at that. It was good enough as it is. And they just didn't leave it alone. These movies right here, you know, when I see, like, The Force Awakens or The Rise of Skywalker or The Last Jedi Rogue One, it's pretty much how I would say you're going to watch this movie because of the title and you're going to give us your money. That's how I feel about it.
Well, Matt, you know how to protest.
I do, and I've done really well. I have not seen any of the Star Wars movies since Rogue One, and I'm standing true to my protesting. I can't do this anymore.
Again, I respect you for it.
I can't do it.
I left the theater after The Force Awakens feeling nice about it again, because Star Wars was a dark shame for us all. And then The Force Awakens was just a little nudge, just a little reminder that it's okay. I've done the most defending I possibly can, because I know how the world views it now. But I
think the majority of the world likes those movies. I really do. I really think the majority is on your side.
Oh. Well, I guess we'll have to take a poll.
We just stop everybody in the world and be like, hey, so do you like the new Star Wars movies or not? Yes or no? We'll be done by, I don't know, 200, 300 years from now, maybe?
We could just have Disney do it for us.
We could. Okay.
They have people.
Yeah, they do.
They're probably the ones that are going to take the census this year. When you think about it, they have the manpower.
They own the world anyway, so what... They have Indiana Jones, too. What more...
Don't say that to me.
See, look at you now. Look at you now.
The walls are coming down, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're terrified of Disney taking our indie.
Oh God, is that true? They
have them. Yes, they bought the rights to Indiana Jones a few years ago.
Oh man.
See, and this is what I don't get. This is what I don't get about you here. You love the Star Wars, but when I said Indiana Jones, I saw the fear in your eyes. I saw your heart just went.
Yeah, well, I always loved Indiana Jones more than Star Wars.
I did too, and they, you know. So, they took Indy and they pretty much raped him in front of us. That's what they did for the 4th movie.
I guess I liked The Force Awakens because it was just exactly what I expected and wanted it to be. You know? I didn't put anything on it that it wasn't going to be.
I had hope. I had hope we were going into a new direction, just a whole new ballgame, and instead I got the same story just with different cast.
Not what the audience wanted. We wanted to be reminded of good times. And that's what it was.
It shouldn't have to be, though. We had the first 3. Like, what more do you need?
I'm not saying you need anything more, but listen, how would you like it if they made a James Bond movie where he never drove a cool car or banged any blondes or drank his martini or shot anybody?
They made the Daniel Craig movies.
Is that what you want? Because that's what the opposite of The Force Awakens would be.
Well, no cool cars,
no space battle, no lightsaber. It'd be bullshit, and you know it.
You still have lightsabers and space battles, but don't rip off the entire script of A New Hope. Try something new. You know, I hate the prequels, but the one thing I can give them credit for that is at least they tried with something new. They tried. It failed. It failed tremendously. All 3 of them did, and I never want to watch them again. But at least I can give them credit for at least trying something new. It just didn't work out so well, and that's what bothers me about it. I thought they were going somewhere new. They We're going to try something, but they brought back the Empire. It's identical. It's identical to A New Hope, and I just couldn't, it was an insult to me. It was insulting to me. But like you said, attitudes going into the movies, you and I had two different ideas.
It's not that I don't see it your way. I just think that my mindset was that it was going to be a tribute.
It gets too much praise. When you're praising this movie over A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, we got problems.
Well, I would never do that. I want that on record.
You're a smart man, then.
Okay.
Well, there's one left. Do I have the energy to do this movie?
That'll be a great finish, if you do.
Okay, I'll say it, man. Die Hard's overrated. Die Hard's fucking overrated. I'm gonna say it. It's overrated.
But why?
Okay, I'll be honest. I never liked Bruce Willis in anything. I don't care for him.
Okay.
I don't find anything about that movie interesting whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I don't find the hostage situation thrilling. I don't know. I watch it, and every time I'm just like, I know there's better action movies, and I know I can be more entertained by things. Like, I don't care that he's trying to save his wife, and they're trying to save their marriage, and it's around Christmas time, and oh my God, the place she works is surrounded by German terrorists, which Alan Rickman, I gotta give Rickman credit, he does great in this movie.
So I didn't know this about you, so it just does nothing for you at all?
No, it really doesn't.
Wow, okay.
It's just, I watch it, and I've watched it several times over and over again.
See, I was ready for you to say it's not the world's greatest action movie.
It isn't.
But
it isn't.
To hear that you didn't even like it at all?
I don't hate it, but I don't like it. It's just, it falls in the middle. It's like what I told you earlier. It's the worst thing you can give to a movie. You don't have any kind of opinion or attachment towards it. You don't hate it, but you don't love it. It's just there. And I don't understand why people love Die Hard either. I really don't. Dude, there's people that go apeshit about it being a Christmas movie. I'm just like, okay.
I mean, I'm gonna do my best to explain. I just think it's over the top in that perfect 1988 way. I mean, set up an action movie that's in a tower, okay, and it's confined to that. It could have been a play. It's so simple. It's going to be an action movie. It's in a high-rise. Now, I sure hope they blow up the high-rise. I hope they do it one story at a time. The movie gives me exactly what I want. I hope the villains are over the top and goofy and fucking played by English character actors who nobody's ever heard of. I get that too. And then the German ballerinas fucking who also nobody understands why they're here. I'd love that. I'd love that you could do that in that time and place and make it work and make it successful. And I think it has a heart. I agree with you. I don't really love that many things Bruce Willis has done, but I think this movie has such a strong script that anybody could have made it awesome.
And maybe that's why I don't like the movie so much. I'm wondering if you replaced Bruce Willis, for example, with say Arnold, I might enjoy the movie a lot more.
Well,
the whole movie and the story centers around Bruce Willis, and it just bothers me so much. I don't really care for it.
I mean, I would love anything with Arnold.
Anybody loves anything with Arnold.
You don't need to say that. Arnold's like the Bible.
He's beyond the Bible. He's like our messiah of all action movies. Even Batman and Robin, as awful as that movie is, hey.
Yeah, but it's only awful for the parts that are not with Mr. Freeze. What killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age!
But to get back on topic, I have a hard time agreeing with you in this one, because I really just enjoy the shit out of Die Hard. I think it's clever, I think it's a lot of fun, I think it's exactly the right length, I think it's over the top to the point where it's enjoyable, but it never gets too stupid. It has a weird, vendetta against the news media, which is super strange, because they're all portrayed as idiots and monsters, and I'm like, oh, where's that coming from? Do you have a particular reason that you feel that way, Mr. Screenwriter? But you know what? It works because he sticks to it. I just think it's great. I think it's a great time at the movies.
Does nothing for me. It really doesn't. And I've watched it several times thinking the same thing with Lord of the Rings. I'm like, okay, let's watch it. Maybe this time something will happen. But, I mean, probably the only two parts that I really like in the movie is the helicopter blowing up and then the guy in the limousine.
The one part I really want to defend is the idea of the hero and the bad guys talking to each other on the radio, the walkie-talkies. Mm-hmm. I think that's really clever. I mean, if nothing else, I think the movie's elevated by the fact that they can communicate, but they can't find each other. So it's a literal cat and mouse. I think that's cool. I like it. My defense of Die Hard is I think it's enjoyable if you don't try to take it seriously, and yet still manages to be a pretty good drama.
Well,
so
what did we learn tonight?
Well,
let me start off. I learned that your hatred for Clerks is something that I have never seen you act like ever. Like, as soon as I said the Library of Congress wanted to preserve this movie, it's just like you just turned into a whole different person. You pretty much like gave up on life there for a moment.
I'm still a little out of breath.
Oh, I think we agreed on most of the movies, though. I think we're at a clear consensus that we think the majority of these movies that we looked at right here are overrated by a long shot. Although I will say we'll have to watch Animal House sometime.
So really, it comes down to I would defend the Lord of the Rings movies and Die Hard, and I feel like you, besides The Godfather, what else did I touch on that was a raw nerve?
No, that was it. The Godfather was really. I mean, Caddyshack. I'll defend.
So that's one you really love?
Yeah, I love Caddyshack. I don't really care. Like, I don't care for Stripes, but Caddyshack is just this goofy comedy about this kid who's trying to get a college scholarship by working at this rich white club's golf course, and he gets involved with a couple, one of the judge's nieces, and he gets into trouble, and he's trying to caddy so he can win the scholarship, and he meets a whole bunch of buffoons of Rodney Dangerfield and Chevy Chase. I just think it's really funny, and it entertains me. I don't care for Bill Murray in that movie, but everybody else like Ted Knight and Chevy Chase and Rodney Dangerfield, I love. It's a riot for me. I love it. But I will also say that one day we'll watch Revenge of the Nerds, but I'm pretty sure if you don't like Animal House, you don't care for Caddyshack, and you don't like Stripes, I'm pretty sure Revenge of the Nerds is not going to be one for you.
Well, I would love to go 4 for 4. So I guess we have a mission now, at least.
Yeah. Definitely agree on Aliens, though. Fuck that movie.
Wow. See, that was the one I was most nervous about.
No, fuck that movie.
Huh.
Fuck it. And The Matrix. Fuck that movie, too. That movie sucks.
And on that bombshell, this has been Head Trash, and we'll see you next time when we debate something that makes us happy instead.
Or we could go for On Her Majesty's Secret Service next episode.
Oh, don't forget, Misfit Sequels is coming up, this time James Bond edition. Good night.